ओमज्ञानतिमिरन्दस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूप कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतः पदकमलं श्रीगुरुन् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातां सहगना रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधाकृष्णपादान् सहगना ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितंश्च। नमो ॐ विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामी इति नामिने। नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे पंचकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्येव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा। Welcome all of you all for our SRIMAD BHAGAVATAM session. So last week we had begun chapter 13 of the first canto, which is entitled Dhritarashtra Quits Home. So we had discussed till verse number 18. 19 to start, yeah. So just a quick recap of what we have done till now. So we saw basically this particular chapter begins with Vidura returning back to Hastinapur from his Tirth Yatra. We had discussed this, that Duryodhan insulted Vidura very badly, but Vidura took it as Krishna's grace. So Vidura goes on his Tirth Yatra and Vidura comes back after hearing from Maitreya Rishi only to enlighten Dhritarashtra. And then we saw this verse explains the initial section, how all the residents of Hastinapur were so happy to receive Mahatma Vidura. It was as if they regained their consciousness after a very long time. And out of great affection, they all cried, Prema Bhaspaugham. That means out of great affection. Because Vidura was a personality who helped all the residents of Hastinapur as a great well-wisher. So when Vidura returns back, they have so much feelings of love and affection for him. And then we saw how Vidura was fed nicely, given comfortable place to take rest, and then Yudhishthir starts to converse with Vidura. So Vidura is basically asked by Yudhishthir about his various travels. How did he travel to various places? Which all places did he go? What did he do here? How did he maintain himself? And most importantly, Yudhishthir asks Vidura about the Dwarka Vasis. And with Yudhishthir also, before beginning all this question, he expresses his gratitude to Vidura for saving the Pandavas' life in so many different places. So Vidura explains everything, but the only thing that he doesn't explain is the destruction of the Yadu dynasty. Because Vidura's logic was, bad news will reach anyway in due course of time. Why to give it? Why to trouble the already troubled Pandavas? So that's how sensitive Vidura was. And Vidura's only purpose was to enlighten Dhritarashtra. So this is what we discussed. So basically from verse number 18 on is Vidura's instructions. 18 to 28, Vidura's chastising Dhritarashtra and also instructing him. So we discussed verse 18. So basically in verse 18, Vidura is telling Dhritarashtra, my dear king, please get out of here immediately. Verse number 18, right? Yeah. My dear Rajan, please get out of here immediately. Do not delay. because fear has already overcome you. And the word Rajan is a very sarcastic word, because Dhritarashtra always wanted to be the king. Now, even after all his sons are dead and everything, still Dhritarashtra wants to be, he's not a king now, but he wants to get that kingly respect. So therefore, Vidura is sarcastically making the statement and calling him the king. And then Vidura is saying that just see, there is already fear that is overtaken you. And we discussed the purport where Srila Prabhupada says, death doesn't care for anyone, whether someone is an old Dhritarashtra or a young Yudhishthira. Death is sure to come. And then Prabhupada also mentions that the only king in this world is time, because all other kings are ultimately dead. I think I told you all the statement last time, I don't remember. There's a Chinese saying, it says that at the end of a chess game, both the king and the pawn go inside the same box. Right? So death is the ultimate equalizer. Whoever you are, at the end, you're all squared off. So in this way, Vidura is beginning its instruction. Text, this till here we discussed last time, till text 18. So today we will do from text 19. Text 19. Pratikriyaya na yasyeha kutaschit karishchit prabho sa esha bhagavan kala sarvesham na samagata. So he tells Dhritarashtra, my dear Lord, my dear Prabhu. Dhritarashtra is very used to this word Prabhu. So Vidura is telling, my dear Prabhu, Krishna has come. Saesh Bhagavan Kala. Krishna has come in the form of time, death. He's approached all of us. Sarvesham na samagata. And Dhritarashtra is saying, Vidura is telling Dhritarashtra, there is no remedy for this death in this material world. Why is he saying this? Because Prabhupada explains in the purport, every time Dhritarashtra would be aware of a problem, he would tell Vidura, find a solution to it. So before Dhritarashtra, if Vidura tells him that death is coming, Dhritarashtra will say, find a solution for it. So before Dhritarashtra can ask that, Vidura is telling her, there is no solution to death. Till now, great scientists have come and gone, so many big people have come and gone. They all tried to overcome death. Prabhupada writes the example of Hiranyakashipu, right? Hiranyakashipu did great austerity. Brahma came in front of him and Hiranyakashipu asked, Lord Brahma, make me eternal. What does Brahma tell Hiranyakashipu? I am only not eternal, right? I also have death in my life. So no one can become free from death. So therefore, before Dhritarashtra is asking also, give me a remedy for death, Vidura is telling him, there is no remedy for death. Because this is Lord himself. Kalosmi Bharatashrabha. In Bhagavad Gita, what does Lord Krishna say? I am time, right? I don't know whether I mentioned this. There is a very beautiful interview of Srila Prabhupada. Prabhupada is sitting with a lot of scientific people, great scholars, but all materialistic. And Prabhupada is discussing with them about Krishna consciousness. Prabhupada is telling them, everyone will have to believe in Krishna. Right now, if you believe in Krishna, good. If you don't believe in Krishna, Krishna will come to you as death. That time you will believe in him. So Prabhupada is like very heavy. So just like Srila Prabhupada is heavy here, Vidura is very heavy. He's making this point that death, there is no solution for it. Text 20. Yena chaiva vipannoyam prane priyatameraphi janah sadyo vijuyeta kim uttanye dhanadibhi. So he says, what to speak of life? At the time of death, life is definitely gone. What to speak of life? Wealth, honor, children, land, home. You have to give up everything and go. You may have a lot of things in this world, but when death comes, you'll have to leave everything. You can't carry anything with you. Right? So this is death. You have to just leave everything. Prabhupada explains in the purport, during Srila Prabhupada's time, there was one great Indian scientist who was going to a meeting, to make, basically to do planning commission, making a 5-year plan. But he didn't know on that way to the meeting, his death was waiting him. And then he had to surrender everything. What to speak about 5-year plan? He's making 5-year plan, but he doesn't know that death has already a plan for him. And he had to give everything, children, wife, land, he had to leave everything. And then Srila Prabhupada also explains another example. Prabhupada explains during the India-Pakistan division, so many rich people had to leave their properties. We all know so many of the Sindhis, they have all big properties in Pakistan. They had to just leave everything and come. That's it. So death or time is such that no one can fight with it. And Prabhupada is saying, it's not that only at the time of death we lose. Prabhupada is saying here, so many things happen daily in our life which we have no hand, which we have no control. The only thing we can do is suffer, tolerate. There is no remedy to so many things. This is the result of time. And Prabhupada is saying here, so many poets have written poems lamenting the influence of time, and we see so many devastations. What is history basically? I think we were discussing this last time. History is names of people who have come and gone. That's what. They were born on this day, died on this year. That's it. That's history. So many powerful people, so many civilizations. Like you go to Hampi, you see that full beautiful civilization, Vidyanagar Samarajya. Where is it now? It's gone. So many civilizations have come and gone. So that's the understanding that, when the power of time comes, no one can match the power of time. You have to just give up everything and go. Text 21. Pitra Bhratar Surat Putra Hataste Vigatan Vayam Atma Cha Jaraya Grishta Parageham Upasase. So now, the first 2-3 shlokas are the general influence of time. There was one picture in the Times magazine. You know what that picture showed? That picture showed a frog in the mouth of a snake. And that frog is putting his tongue out to eat one fly. The frog is already eaten, halfway eaten by the snake. But even in that condition, the frog still wants to eat one fly and go. So that's the idea. The frog eats a fly, a snake eats a frog. So someone or the other is gone. Jivo jivasya jivanam. So the first few shlokas are general understanding of time, that how time is so powerful, everyone has to leave and go. Now, Vidura is coming to something personal in the life of Dhritarashtra. He's telling Dhritarashtra, your father, brother, well-wishers, sons, grandsons are all dead and gone. Not only that, you have expended major portion of your life, and now you're so old and you're living at the home of another. What is going on with you? So Prabhupada is writing in the purport, Dhritarashtra is being reminded of his precarious condition, and Dhritarashtra is being reminded, please look into your life. In your past life, you'll learn a lot of different things. So many times, the lessons that we need to learn now is already there in the past. If you look in our past, there is already so many lessons that we have to learn, right? So he's basically telling Dhritarashtra, see what's happening to you. You have so many people in your family are dead and gone, but still you feel that your time will never come. Again, that story of Yudhishthir going to that Yaksha in Kamyavan, and this Yaksha is asking Yudhishthir many questions, and one of the questions is what is the most astonishing thing in the world? And what does Yudhishthir say? Ahani ahani abhutani gachanti yamalayam sheshastavaram ichanti kim ascharya athaparam. Says every day, even in our life we see, just like Dhritarashtra, so many of his family members have come and gone. Even in our life we see so many people have come and gone. But still those who are alive feel their time will never come. Their time will never come. Just a month ago, there's one program that I do, and there's one Mataji, her husband passed away suddenly, heart attack, like 55 years old, heart attack, gone. So they called us for a condolence program, a kirtan, a katha. We spoke something, and then their family members were sharing. And one of the boys, the nephew of this person, he came up and he said, all his whole family, like there were like 150 people sitting down, Chopra family. So he said, our family is reducing every year. In the last 1.5 years, so many people in their family have gone. So this is the reality of life, that everyone's family members are just passing away. But we don't get this message. So here Prabhupada explains in the purport that how in Dhritarashtra's life so many people died. Here it is mentioned, Pitraha, Pitra is father. Who was the father of Dhritarashtra? Vichitravirya. Vichitravirya died long back. Then his brother, right? Who's Dhritarashtra's brother? Pandu. He also died. Well-wishers. Who are the well-wishers? Dronacharya, Bhishma. The most closest associate of Dhritarashtra, they are also gone. Not only that, 100 sons gone, grandsons gone, everyone gone. And 80% more than that, Dhritarashtra's life is also gone. Still Dhritarashtra is not serious about Krishna consciousness. So this is what is paining Vidura. So Prabhupada explains here, Vidura wanted to point out that everyone has to protect himself by two things. By one's action and by the grace of Krishna. So Vidura is telling Dhritarashtra, now no one is there to protect you. All your well-wishers are gone, your sons are gone, everyone is gone. Who is going to protect you? Only Krishna and your own karma, your own bhakti karma is going to protect you. So Vidura is telling him, at least now, at the fag end of your life, please start the process of bhakti. And in the next verse, right, Vidura is getting more powerful in his preaching, because Vidura understands that this fellow is a very difficult guy, hard nut to crack. So Vidura is really giving one heavy verse after another. In the next verse he says, text 22, Anda puraiva vadiro manda pragyasya sampratam Vishnirna dhanto mandhagni saraga kafamudvahan. So he says, my dear Dhritarashtra, you have been blind from birth. Now congratulations, you have become deaf also recently. Because as you grow old, your hearing reduces. You have been blind from birth, now you have become deaf. Your memory is shortened. Your intelligence is disturbed. Your teeth are loose. Your liver is defective. And you are continuously coughing mucus. Look at your position. You are so old, but still attached to the facilities in this kingdom. What's happening to you? Why are you living such a shameful life? Adi Shankaracharya has a very beautiful verse. He says, Angam galitam palitam mundam dashan vihitam jatam tundam vriddho yache gritva dandam tadapini muchati asha pindam. He's saying, Angam galitam. Someone becomes so old, the body melts literally. Gal jata hai sharir. Angam galitam palitam mundam. Hairs go away. Teeth start to fall off. And you're so old that you have to take a stick and walk. Still, Maya is so strong like Dhritarashtra. The hope for enjoyment doesn't go. You still have that hope for enjoyment. So Vidura is reminding Dhritarashtra, you are already old. And what does old age mean? So Prabhupada is saying here, old age is an indication that you're very close to that final exam. It's the last strike. So Prabhupada is explaining here, dwindling, apakshaya. Apakshaya means dwindling of the body is the last stroke before death. It's the last stroke. So therefore he is telling Dhritarashtra, just see what's happening to your life. You're already old. Now if you don't take up Krishna consciousness, you will take another birth again. Punarapi jananam, punarapi maranam. You'll be forced to take another birth because you have forgotten your real occupation. So like Dhritarashtra, people in this world are so caught in their present life, they have no idea that cruel death is waiting around the corner. Srila Prabhupada was one time in Mayapur in the initial days. In those days, we had only one long building in Mayapur which is still there. So Prabhupada was with his devotees walking on the terrace. And suddenly one cobra comes on the terrace. So Prabhupada looking at that, he is asking the devotees, what does this mean? The devotees don't have answer. So Prabhupada says, generally a snake cannot climb. But the snake has come here means this is death. Wherever you are, death can come at the least expected moment. So in this way, Vidura is reminding Dhritarashtra, and Prabhupada explains here, saints like Vidura, their duty is to awaken people to the reality. And these saints, they are not meant to flatter people. Vidura has not come here to flatter Dhritarashtra. Sadhu means, what is the meaning of the word sadhu? Sadhu means to cut. He cuts through the illusion with his words. But people don't like such sadhus. People want sadhus also in their life. Whom they want? They want show bottle sadhus. But Vidura is not a show bottle sadhu. He is not here to satisfy the ill-gotten sentiment of Dhritarashtra. He was pointing out the actual situation. And in the next verse he says, text 23. Now he gets more powerful. Text 23. Aho mahiyashi jantor jivitasha yata bhavan bhima pavarjitam pindam adate grahapalavat. Alas, how powerful are the hopes of the living being to continue living. As I told you, the shloka of Shankaracharya becomes so old, but still the hope for living doesn't go. The hope for comfort, enjoyment. And he's telling Dhritarashtra, you're living like a dog in the house of Bhima. This Bhima, who killed your 100 pet sons, especially Duryodhan, Dushasan, favorite sons of Dhritarashtra, Bhima killed, and you're staying in that same house. Bhima is throwing some rotis to you and you're eating. Shameless guy, get out from this place. At least have some shame. So in this way, Vidura is like really heavy on Dhritarashtra. Really heavy. So Prabhupada explains here, a sadhu should never flatter kings to live comfortably at their cost. Sadhu is not meant for that. A sadhu is meant to speak the truth, even though the truth may be unpalatable. Srila Prabhupada, sometimes he would say, we all know Swami Vivekananda, he went to America, and what did he say? He said, my dear brothers and sisters. So Prabhupada said, I went to America and I called all of them dogs and rascals. So Prabhupada said, my duty is to awaken people up. So and Prabhupada did that. So a sadhu is just not meant to flatter. A sadhu is meant to call people, awaken them up. And just like Srila Prabhupada called these people dogs and rascals living materialistic life, Vidura is doing that. Vidura is calling Dhritarashtra, you are living like a dog in the house of Bhima. Prabhupada writes here, Dhritarashtra wanted to continue life because he wanted a comfortable life even at the risk of humiliation. So Vidura is saying, what kind of life this is? You are being humiliated every now and then and still you are continuing a life like this. What is the point? There is no point living like this. And then Prabhupada mentions, this is how strong illusion is, Maya is. You all know the story. One time, Indra, he offended his guru Brihaspati, and Indra had to become a pig in this world. He became a pig. And after he became a pig, the seat of Indra was vacant. So Brahmaji and all the demigods come to Indra and tell him, now he's in the body of a pig. They tell him, come back, the seat is vacant. Indra is saying, I am very happy here in the body of a pig. Why do you have to come? Brahmaji, even after so much preaching, he didn't come. Brahmaji had to literally kill this body of the pig. Then only Indra went. So the point is, this world is so illusory that for the little enjoyment, we are ready to go through so much humiliation. For the little enjoyment, we are ready to go through so much suffering. So Prabhupada is saying here, a sadhu like Vidura is meant to awaken such blind people. Who Dhritarashtra? Dhritarashtra is blind. Not only materially, Dhritarashtra is blind spiritually. Being blind materially is no problem, but being blind spiritually. Therefore, in our Mangalacharan we pray, Om Aghyanti Mirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. What does Guru do? Guru removes that blindness. Just like someone has cataract, with a stick that cataract is removed. So Guru, he removes our cataract, our blindness with that stick of knowledge so that we can see the truth. So Vidura is making Dhritarashtra realize that death is very near you. Death is it's just around the corner. So please, you have to make this life successful and go back to Godhead. So, Prabhupada mentions the last sentence. We can imagine how responsible a task is entrusted to a sadhu like Mahatma Vidura. So, preaching is not easy. Preaching is not easy. Prabhupada explains in the next purport. Prabhupada says, in those days, 5,000 years ago, there was one Dhritarashtra. Prabhupada says, in Kali Yuga now, there is a Dhritarashtra practically everywhere. So, in those days, one Vidura was enough. But in today's time, we need many Viduras. We need a lot of people to awaken them to the realities of life. Jiva jago, Gaura Chandra bole, Kota nidra jago maya, Pishachira kole. Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, the Lord comes or sometimes the Lord sends his agents. Both are the same. Their job is to awaken people, Jiva jago. And such people are sleeping in the lap of Maya. So Vidura like personalities, they come to awaken people. Text 24. Agni nirashto dattascha garodarashcha dushita hritam kshetram dhanam yesham tattater ashubhikiyat. So he's saying there is no need to live like this. There's no need to live life on the charity of those whom you tried to kill. You tried to kill these Pandavas, and still you are living at their cost, at their mercy. What kind of life is this? And then Vidura is reminding Dhritarashtra in how many ways he tried to kill the Pandavas. By arson, by poison. Draupadi was insulted. They were thrown out of the kingdom, out of wealth, everything. And still Dhritarashtra is living at the cost of these Pandavas only. The Pandavas are great. They have discounted all that and they are keeping him. But there has to be some sense of self-respect. Some sense of self-respect has to be there. That's what Vidura is trying to awaken. So Prabhupada explains here, what is the system of Varnashram? The system of Varnashram is ultimately one moves towards renunciation. That's the idea. Right? Varnashram, how is it? There is Brahmachari, Grihastha, Vanaprastha, Sannyas. Right? So that means slowly you are detaching. You're moving towards Vanaprastha and Sannyas. So this is like the routine life. Every person has to go through these phases of life. You retire and then move on to the path of renunciation. But people like Dhritarashtra, even at a ripened age, he is not at all ready to move to the next phase of Vanaprastha and Sannyas. So Vidura wanted to tell him, it is better to die in a forest unknown than to live in such a way, being humiliated and living life like this. And as I told you, Prabhupada mentions here, 5,000 years ago there was one Dhritarashtra. Now practically there's a Dhritarashtra everywhere. And Prabhupada gives one Dhritarashtra mentality. A politician will not leave his chair until someone shoots him and kills him. He will not leave and go. Right? So Prabhupada mentions to stick to family life till the final end is a grossest type of degradation. And therefore there is a lot of need for Viduras in the present moment. Text 25. So now Vidura is telling Dhritarashtra, Tasyapi tava dehoyam kripanasya jijivisho paraiti anichato jirno jaraya vasasi iva. So Dhritarashtra might say, hey, what's the problem? I am shameless. I just want to live like this. So Vidura is telling him, even though you don't want to die, and even though your desire, you are ready to live at the cost of honor, the prestige, still your body will deteriorate like an old garment. Okay? So Dhritarashtra might say, I just want to continue life like this. What's the problem? So Vidura is saying, no. Even though you want to live life eternally, it is not going to happen. You will be kicked out of this body. And here Prabhupada is stressing on the word Kripanasya Jiji Visho. Kripana means a miser. Even in Bhagavad Gita 2nd chapter, Prabhupada mentions these two words, Kripana and a Brahmana. Who is a Kripana? Kripana is a miserly man who doesn't know the estimation of one's material body. And a Brahmana is one who knows the true estimation of himself and the material body. So Kripana, what does a Kripana do? he enjoys life, sense gratification till the end of his life. And even in old age, he tries to do medical treatment to keep enjoying more and more. This is a kripana. He doesn't understand this human form of life is meant for something else. Vidura is trying to open his eyes, and Vidura is trying to tell him that it is better to take the right path even at the risk of death. So the idea probably Dhritarashtra didn't want to go out, because Dhritarashtra was thinking that I'm already old, in old age I need comfort. How can I go out? So Vidura is trying to tell him it's a different logic. Better you take risk. Better to go and die like that than to die like this in a humiliating way. So Prabhupada is mentioning here that Dhritarashtra's already 80% of his life is spoiled. Now he wants to waste this rest of his life also. And only by good luck, by some good fortune, the only, I think I mentioned last time, the only good quality that Dhritarashtra had was, he had a brother like Vidura. He had association of a sadhu like Vidura. That was his only good quality. Brahmande Brahmite Kono Bhagyavan Jeev, Guru Krishna Prasade Pai Bhakti Lata Beej. Only by the mercy of Guru, one can get rid of one's material attachment. Text 26. Gata swartam imam deham viratto mukta bandhana avigyata gatir jaya savai dhira udharata. So he tells him, he is called a dhira, savai dhira udharata. Who is a dhira? Dhira means an undisturbed person. Such a person is called an undisturbed person, one who goes to an unknown remote place, free from all obligations, mukta bandhana, and he quits his material body there. So Dhritarashtra's idea was, I will die here only. Vidura's idea is, no, go to an unknown place where no one knows you, and there you die. That is a more honorable death. That's what you should aim for. So Prabhupada writes in the purport, one of our great acharyas, Narottam Das Thakur, in his bhajan he writes, Hari Hari Vifale Janama Gunayino, Manushya Janma Paya, Radha Krishna Na Bajiya, Janiya Shuniya Vishakhayino. So Narottam Das Thakur says, my dear Lord, after getting this human form of life, I have not worshipped Radha Krishna, I have knowingly drunk poison. So that means this human form of life is meant for what? For cultivating devotional service and to get rid of this life which is full of anxieties and miseries. And one who doesn't do this, that means what basically Prabhupada is mentioning and what Vidura explains ahead in the shlokas, there are different levels of spirituality. The first level is called Narottam. That means where you become a pure devotee of Krishna. But Dhritarashtra, for him it is difficult now. Suddenly, this fellow who is an atheist who has no faith in Krishna, suddenly you tell him chant Hare Krishna 16 rounds and do this, do that. Dhritarashtra is not going to take it. He is not on that level. So for such a person, the next level is called a dhira, undisturbed person. And who is a dhira? Prabhupada mentions here, a dhira means one who is undisturbed in provocation, one who gives up his family affection. Such a person is called a dhira, who gradually takes to the path of renunciation. So Vidura is telling him, bhakti is very far for you. At this point, it's very difficult for you to do that at this age. Right now, at least you become a dhira, and the first starting point is get out of your house. That's where your path will actually start. So this is what Vidura is trying to encourage Dhritarashtra to gradually become detached and move towards the path of liberation. And in text 27, so here this word speaks about a dhira. Right? This is a beginning stage in spiritual life, the path of renunciation. But better than being a dhira is someone called a Narottama. Who is a Narottama? Nara is human being, Uttama is topmost. The first class man or the topmost human being. And who is the topmost human being? Text 27. Yaswakat parato veha jata nirveda atmavan hriday kritva harim geha pravarjetsa narottama. He is a first class Narottam who understands either by himself or from others. First, he understands the falsity of the material world. He understands that this material world is false, useless, nothing is real. And thus he leaves home, Hriti Kritva Harim Gehat. He leaves home and takes shelter of Krishna. So basic idea of Narottam is one was taken full shelter of Krishna. So Prabhupada explains in the purport. Prabhupada introduces three words: Dhira, Sannyasi and Narottam. Dhira is one who is frustrated with family life and he takes to the path of renunciation. Right? And that is a Dhira, basically one who is not disturbed by being away from family association, Dhira. And then connected to that is someone who is a sannyasi. Most people take to the path of renunciation because of some frustration from material life. But higher than that is a Narottama. And who is a Narottama? A sincere devotee of the Lord who is constantly hearing and chanting about Krishna. So that is the highest. So Prabhupada explains here, therefore, all of us, by Srila Prabhupada's grace, we are all getting the opportunity to become a Narottama. And how do we do that? Prabhupada says, by practicing devotional service at home. So someone may say, Vidura is encouraging Dhritarashtra to get out. Should we also leave home and go? But you can leave home and go, but the most important principle is what? Even if you are at home, what you are supposed to do? Practice devotional service. Griheta vaneta sada hari boleta ko. Right? Bhaktivinoda Thakur and all the great acharyas, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. The principle is, wherever you are, sthane sthita shruti-gatam tanuva manobhi. Sthane sthita, wherever you are, be there, but hear and chant more and more. So Prabhupada says here, therefore one should practice devotional service at home, hearing, chanting the pastimes of the Lord in association of devotees. And gradually one will become God conscious, provided one is sincere in purpose. The word sincerity is very, very important. And then Prabhupada explains, there are many examples of sincere devotees. Devotees who have taken up to the process of Krishna consciousness, especially in the land of India. So many examples of sincere devotees. And Mahatma Vidura is one of them. And we should all try to follow in the footsteps of Mahatma Vidura. That's the idea. So you all have got this point. So basically, you can say 3 levels of renunciation. One is Dhira, Sannyasi, but greater than even a Sannyasi is to be a Narottam. And Narottam means a topmost human being. And becoming a topmost human being means to take up to the process of pure devotional service. Pardon? So Mata is saying sannyasis are not taking shelter of Krishna. Prabhupada explains in the purport ahead, not necessary. So Prabhupada mentions there are 2 types of sannyas, Vaishnav sannyas, Mayavad sannyas, right? So it's not that all the sannyasis take shelter of Krishna, not compulsory. So generally people to take to the path of renunciation either because of frustration from material life or the understanding that I want to become God, I want to attain liberation, right? So it's not necessary that all sannyasis are Vaishnavas. Not necessary. Right? So Prabhupada will come to that. You will see one purport where Prabhupada is mentioning clearly about the difference between the 2 sannyasis. So therefore, greater than even so-called karma sannyas is the idea of bhakti. Right? In the Bhagavad Gita, the 3rd chapter, the 5th chapter, Arjuna is asking Lord Krishna, which is better? Karma sannyas or bhakti? Karma yoga. Lord Krishna says, greater than karma sannyas is karma yoga. And here karma yoga refers to the process of bhakti. Right? So now, Vidura is telling Dhritarashtra, for you becoming a Narottama is very difficult. You start with the process of becoming a Dhira. Ato dikchim disham yato sveragyata gatir bhavan itorvak prayasha kala pumsa guna vikarshana. So, ato dikchim, ato is therefore. Therefore, Dhritarashtra, what is the conclusion? Ato dikchim disham yato. Udikchim is north. Leave for the north immediately. Immediately go to the north. North refers to Himalayas. Go to the Himalayas immediately. Why? And he says, swear agyat gatir bhavan. don't tell anyone. I think we were discussing this principle. Dhritarashtra will tell Vidura, okay, I will go, but let me at least talk to Yudhishthir, let me talk to 2-3 people. Vidura says, no, don't talk to anyone. Why? Because finally Vidura has awakened a little renunciation in this guy. Now if he talks to 2-3 people, they will all tell him, don't do it. And this fellow is not going to do it. So Vidura tells, don't discuss. So this is a lesson for all of us also. You know what is the lesson? Once you get a desire to do something for Krishna, surrender to Krishna, don't discuss. Do it. Because if you discuss, many family members will tell you, don't do it. They are going to tell you, don't do it. So these are certain things that you don't discuss. Once that inspiration comes, do it. Family members will understand after some time. If you start discussing everything with family members, gone. The inspiration will die. So Vidura is telling Dhritarashtra, go to the north immediately without knowledge of any family members. Why? Because Itorva Prayasha Kala Pumsa Guna Vikarshana. Because Kali Yuga is coming very soon. And what is the nature of Kali Yuga? The good qualities in man is going to go. Dhritarashtra, first of all, you don't have any good qualities. Now finally at the end of your life, one good quality of renunciation is coming. You wait little longer, this will also go. So don't wait, just do it now. So Prabhupada explains in the purport, Vidura is telling Dhritarashtra, do it now immediately. Because valuable instructions will fade away with time. In English, this is a preaching strategy. You know what's a preaching strategy? As preachers, we generally don't disclose it, but we are telling all of you all. What is the preaching strategy, The preaching strategy is strike when the iron is hot. What do you know what it means? See, now आपने लोहा को गर्म अग्नि में डाला, अभी गर्म हो गया. जब गर्म है ना, तभी मारोगे ना, शेप आएगा. 2 घंटा 3 घंटा हो गया, नॉर्मल हो जाएगा, एज इट इज हो जाएगा पहले जैसे. So therefore, when you hear a satsang, when you come to satsang, you get that inspiration. That time only take some vow. Because after if you think that I will take vow tomorrow or day after, it will all go. It will all fizzle away. Because that's the nature of Kali Yuga. Good qualities don't last long. Spiritual inspirations don't last long. As soon as you get it in that sadhu sangha, immediately do it. That's the idea. Okay? So now, Vidura has tried his best. I mean, which verse number this is? 28, right? He started from 18. So almost like 18, 19. It's almost like 10 verses. 10 verses. So Vidura has tried his best. And the good news is it has worked. Text 29. Evam Raja Viduranujena Pragya Chakshur Bodhita Ajamidha Chitva Sveshu Sneha Pasham Dhadmino Nishchakrama Bhratar Sandarshitadva. So this Maharaj Dhritarashtra, the scion of the family of Ajamida, his eyes opened. Which eyes? Pragya Chakshu. What is the word Pragya? You have heard this word Pragya before? Have you heard this word Pragya? What does Pragya mean?
Pragya means it's the knowledge of self-observation.
But Pragya is not exact. Pragya basically means realization, you can say your inner wisdom, right? So we all have a pragya, a wisdom body basically, but that wisdom body is closed for all of us. So when we come in association of devotees, that wisdom, therefore you call this self-realization. What is self-realization? That means you realize the truths of life. Till now you are like seeing but not seeing. So therefore, more important than Chakshu, the eyes, is Pragya Chakshu, the inner eyes. So Dhritarashtra Finally, his inner introspective knowledge is awakened. Bodhita ajamida. He's become a little intelligent now. So this is also a very interesting point. What is it? What do you think will be the age of Dhritarashtra at this point? He will like probably hundreds and hundreds of years old, very old guy. Just with the passing of age, one doesn't become intelligent. One becomes intelligent only in association of devotees, when we associate with sadhus. So finally Dhritarashtra, so basically Dhritarashtra, he is in the body of an old person, but he is very still childish, like children are attached to toys, this, that. Dhritarashtra was attached to so many things. Finally his inner wisdom is opened. And what does Dhritarashtra do? Chitva shveshu sneha pashan dadmino. He breaks, he cuts the strong network of family illusion. How? By resolute determination. So cutting family attachment is not that easy. You need resolute determination. And what did he do? He left out immediately on the path of liberation as directed by his younger brother Vidura. Finally, Vidura's surgery is successful. This Dhritarashtra, it's not that Vidura is the first person who tried. Bhishma tried. Vyasdev tried. Who is Dhritarashtra? He's the son of Vyasdev. Vyasdev has written all the Vedas. His son Dhritarashtra. Vyasdev couldn't do it. Bhishma couldn't do it. Krishna couldn't do it. Vidura has finally done it. And Prabhupada gives a brilliant purport. Prabhupada mentions here, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the greatest preacher of Bhagavatam, has therefore stressed the importance of association of devotees. Sadhu Sangha, Sarva Shastra Kahe, Lavamatra Sadhu Sangha, Sarva Siddhi Hoy. Only 10 verses. But these 10 verses were coming from the mouth of Vidura. So this is the power of association of devotees even for a moment. Today, one of Srila Prabhupada's very senior disciple, Kritu Prabhu. I don't know how many of you know about Kritu Prabhu. He passed away today in Vrindavan Dham. Kritu Prabhu, Grahastha devotee, but very senior disciple of Srila Prabhupada. He was an initiating guru, written many books. The reason I'm remembering him now is he's written one book called Sadhu Sangha. Very beautiful book, right? And in that Sadhu Sangha book, Kritu Prabhu has given hundreds and hundreds of references, scriptural references, the power of association of devotees. So we all deeply miss Kritu Prabhu. But here, Prabhupada is mentioning here that this is the power of association of a pure devotee even for a moment. Someone like Dhritarashtra, who is like a gone case, useless case, even such a person is walking the path of liberation not because of his merit. It is only by the merit of Vidura. And Prabhupada is mentioning here, Prabhupada very humbly he is saying, even in my life I have experienced this. Prabhupada is saying here, if I didn't associate with Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, I would have been a big business magnate somewhere. But Prabhupada is saying here, by the association of Bhaktisiddhanta, my guru saved me from walking the path of materialism. And now I am writing purport on Srimad Bhagavatam. Prabhupada is saying that's not my credit. The only credit is I got association of a pure devotee like Bhaktisiddhanta. And Prabhupada is saying here is another practical example. So Prabhupada is very humble. Prabhupada is comparing himself to Dhritarashtra and is comparing Bhaktisiddhanta to Vidura. And in all our life, we are all like that only. To some extent, we are all like Dhritarashtra. So we are able to walk the path of spirituality, the path of liberation is only because of the association of pure devotees. And the scriptures are filled with stories like that, right? You have here Vidura preaching to Dhritarashtra. You have in Bhagavatam 10th canto, Narad Muni preaching to Nalokver, Manigriva, and the stories are endless. By the power of association of devotees. So Prabhupada mentions here, therefore, scriptures enjoin that one should associate with sadhus only, and by doing so, one will have ample opportunity to hear the sadhus who can cut to pieces the bonds of illusory affection for material world. And Prabhupada says here, this material world, it appears so factual, but it is all illusion. And Prabhupada gives an example. Just like cloud, right? Cloud pours water and the cloud is gone. As soon as it pours water, the cloud is lost its identity. The water falls and then there is grass. But Prabhupada explains here, but in time, cloud, rain, green vegetation, everything goes. The only thing that remains the truth is that eternal sky. Similarly, in this world, everything is very, very changing, but we don't see it. Therefore, we need sadhus like Vidura who can actually tell us what the truth is. So in this way, Dhritarashtra walks towards the north. But something very interesting, text 30 says, Gandhari also follows Dhritarashtra. Patim Pariyandam Subalasya Putri Pativrata Chanujagama Sadhvi Himalayam Nyastadandam Praharsham Manasvinam Iva Sat Sampraha. So Gandhari, who is the daughter of King Subala of Gandhar, who is a very, very chaste lady. So Prabhupada explains here, Gandhari's name comes whenever you speak about chaste ladies, you have the name of Sita Maya coming and also you have the name of Gandhari coming, a very chaste lady. She followed her husband. So Dhritarashtra at this point, he didn't even talk to Gandhari. This discussion was only between two brothers. So Dhritarashtra walked out, he didn't even talk to Gandhari, he didn't even ask her whether she's coming or not. But Gandhari on her own, she just followed her husband. And they all go towards the Himalayas. And what is Himalayas? Himalayam Nastadandam Praharsham. Himalaya is the object of delight. For whom? Himalayas is the object of delight for whom? For the sadhus. The sadhus love Himalaya. And the sadhus here refers to Nastadandam, those who have taken the danda, the path of renunciation. And here it says, just like a fighter who has received good lashing from the enemy. So that means when you take up to the path of renunciation, when you have received sufficient lashing from Maya, then you are done. You just walk. So like that, it's mentioned in this verse. So Gandhari also just followed. Here Prabhupada mentions here that there are two kinds of sannyasis, what Mataji was saying. The Mayavadi sannyasis who are called the Ekadanda sannyas and the Vaishnav sannyasis who are called Tridandi sannyas. Ekadanda because they carry one danda, the Mayavadis, and their idea is that their philosophy is we are one with God. Right? When someone takes to Mayavad sannyas, they think that they have already become Narayan. They start to address each other, Namo Narayanaya. And then there is Tridanda sannyas, Vaishnav sannyas, where your understanding is we are separate from God, but we use our mind, body, intelligence, words, everything in the service of Krishna. And so the understandings of both people are different and the place of worship is also different. So the Ekadanda sannyasis, the Mayavad sannyasis, they love the Himalayas. But Prabhupada explains the Vaishnav sannyasis, they don't like the Himalayas so much. Their affection is more for Vrindavan, Jagannath Puri, Mayapur. Therefore, if you study Chaitanya Leela, Mahaprabhu's Leela, there is no mention that Mahaprabhu did Chardham Yatra. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu went to Gangotri, Yamunotri, Kedarnath. No mention. Mahaprabhu went to Vrindavan. The 6 Goswamis of Vrindavan, no mention that they went to Chardham, Himalayas. No mention. They went to Vrindavan because the destinations are different. Right? I mean, the goals whom they are worshipping is different. So Dhritarashtra, if Vidura tells Dhritarashtra go to Vrindavan, difficult for him. So Vidura is telling Dhritarashtra, for you, Himalaya only is good. Go to the Himalayas. Text 31. So now what happens? They are gone. Who's gone? Vidura, Dhritarashtra, Gandhari, all three have gone. In fact, in the chapters ahead, it's mentioned that even Kunti also has left with them. Kunti also is gone. And the most senior people, they have gone. They have not told anyone. They have not told anyone. Just gayab. Overnight, they have just disappeared. Now, what happens? Next day in the morning, Yudhishthir gets up. Text 31. अजातशत्रु कृतमैत्र हुताग्निर् विप्रान्नत्वा तिलगो भूम्निरुक्मे गृहं प्रविष्टो गुरुवन्दनाय न चापश्यत् पितरो सोबलिं च. So Yudhishthir, who is called Ajatashatru, whose enemy is never born, Yudhishthir every day in the morning, he would get up early, he would offer his prayer, he would do his fire sacrifice to the sun god, he would offer obeisances to Bhumi, he would offer grains, land, cow in charity to Brahmanas. Every day he would do this. And then after doing all his morning rituals, his prayers, everything, he would go to offer respects to the elderly. Every day his day would start, after doing all this, he would go and offer obeisances to Dhritarashtra, Gandhari, and then start. So Prabhupada explains in the purport, Yudhishthira is the most pious king, and he would do all the duties of a householder, rise early in the morning, offer prayers to the deities, elderly brahmanas, like that. And Prabhupada explains something very interesting, very contrast to modern householders who get up late, and after getting up, no morning duty, seedha, coffee, tea, and that too without taking bath or probably a newspaper. So Prabhupada is saying, just see the whole contrast. No mention that Yudhishthir started his day with, with bed in his tea, in his bedroom, and reading a newspaper. There's no mention like that. So Prabhupada is mentioning here how times have changed so much. And Prabhupada is saying, if parents are doing this, how can good culture come to the children? So therefore, nothing good can be expected from a population who has no idea what the purpose of life is. So someone like Yudhishthir is the ideal personality, whom the generations have to follow. Start your day with a spiritual practice, offering respects to elders, like that. So Yudhishthir on this day, the next day in the morning, probably in the night only they all left, 3 of them or 4 of them. So next day in the morning, Yudhishthir is going to meet Dhritarashtra, Vidura, Gandhari, but none of them are there. So now Yudhishthir is very, very upset. And he comes to Sanjay, because now Sanjay is the secretary. Dhritarashtra, whatever he would do, he would ask his secretary and do. He comes to Sanjay, text 32. Tatra Sanjayanam Asinam Praprachod Manasa Gavalagane Kvanastato Vriddahinascha Netrayo Udvikna Manasa. Yudhishthir is so filled with anxiety, he runs to Sanjay, who is sitting there, and is asking Sanjay, "Oh Sanjay, where is our uncle who's old and blind?" Text 33. Amba chahata putrarta pitrivya kvagata surat api mai akarta pragye ata bandhu sabhagyaya ashman samana shamalam gangayam dukkito patat. Where is Vidura? And who is Vidura? Gata Surat, who is my ever well-wisher. Where is Vidura? And where is Gandhari, who is already very afflicted with the death of all her sons? And Yudhishthira is feeling that probably I am so ungrateful, and because I didn't take care of these people properly, they took my offenses seriously, and probably Dhritarashtra, Gandhari, they all jumped in the Ganga and committed suicide. So Yudhishthira is feeling, he's feeling so responsible and accountable. He's feeling that probably it's what my actions upset them, right? They took it very seriously and they just left like that. So Prabhupada writes in the purport, Yudhishthira, Arjuna, they didn't want to fight at all. Why? Because they knew what the consequences would be. They knew that if the fight will happen, many people will die, it will lead to heartbreaks, it will lead to a lot of things. family agreement. They didn't want to get into it. Just because Lord Krishna was telling them you have to do it, they did it. Right? And they did what Krishna told, but what they had predicted is happening now. They understood. I mean, it's not that, after so many people dying, it's not that Yudhishthir ruled happily. It was no happy rule. It was just a rule out of duty. There was no happiness, Everyone dead in the war. What is happiness now anymore? So Yudhishthir, what he had predicted is already happening, He's seeing that everyone is aggrieved. And Yudhishthir at least thought that, I have given a lot of pain to Gandhari and Dhritarashtra. Let me at least take care of them in the old age. And he was trying his best to take care, so that at least, they don't feel too much hurt. But now, because they have left and gone, Yudhishthir feels that I am accountable for all this. Right? And Prabhupada mentions this is the nature of a good man or a devotee of the Lord. A devotee never finds faults with others, but tries to find his own and thus rectify them as far as possible. So, Yudhishthir's personality is such a great personality. He's not seeing any fault in them. He's only seeing fault in himself. Even at this point, he's feeling that even after going out of the way to take care of Dhritarashtra Gandhari, he still feels that I am responsible. Text 34. Pitari uparate pando sarvana suradashishun akarshatam vyasanataha pitravyokva gatavita. When my father Pandu fell down and he died, we were all small children, and these two uncles gave us protection from all kinds of calamities. Alas, where have they gone? So Yudhishthir is choosing to focus on the good things that, definitely Vidura did a lot of good things, but he's trying to focus on the good things that Dhritarashtra did, whatever little. So now what is Sanjaya's response? We will just end with few verses, 1 or 2 verses, and then we will stop. Suta uvacha kripaya sneha vaiklavya suto viraha karshita Atmeshwaram achakshano na pratyati pidita. So now Yudhishthir is going and asking Sanjay, what has happened to them? Tell me. So Sutta Goswami is saying here, Sanjay, kripaya sneha vaiklavyat. Sneha vaiklavyat is his mind is dearranged because he is also feeling the loss. Suddenly, Dhritarashtra didn't tell him also. So Sanjay is already feeling that his master has done, he's left him and gone. Sanjay couldn't reply properly. It takes some time. So Prabhupada writes in the purport, Sanjay was a personal assistant to Dhritarashtra for a very long time. Dhritarashtra wouldn't do anything without revealing his heart, talking to Sanjay. But this final, most important decision, Dhritarashtra didn't give any clue. So he was feeling very, very sorrowful. But Prabhupada writes here, Sanjay was probably thinking that Dhritarashtra is gone because he's too hurt, he's too disturbed. He didn't know that it's because he's not gone because he's too hurt. He's gone because he's seeing a better future in the path of renunciation. So Sanjay is not aware of all that. So he's also feeling very, very bad. Text 36. Vimraja ashruni panibhyam Vishtabhyatmanam atmana Ajata shatrum pratyuche Prabhopada anusmaran. So he slowly pacifies his mind. He wipes his tears. He thinks of Dhritarashtra and he begins to reply to Yudhishthir. How does he reply? Text 37. Sanjaya vacha naham veda vyavasitam pitrorva kulanandana gandharyava mahabaho mushitosmi mahatmabhi. Naham veda vyavasitam. Naham veda. Veda means knowledge. So Yudhishthira is asking Sanjay, do you know anything? What has happened to them? Where they have gone? Naham Ved. I have no knowledge of what their determination, what their thoughts were. Pitrurva Kulanandana. Of your uncles, I have no understanding. And neither of Gandhari. And then he says, Mushitosmi Mahatmabi. Mushita is cheated. These great personalities have cheated me. And Prabhupada gives a brilliant purport. Prabhupada says here, that great souls cheat may be astonishing. But the fact is, great souls cheat for a great cause. Great souls cheat for a great cause. If they had to tell Sanjay, nothing would have happened. So somewhere at some time you have to cheat. And Prabhupada explains here, what is the most important criteria? The most important criteria is to satisfy the Lord. To satisfy the Lord, you can do anything. That's the idea. Right? If ultimately you have to satisfy the Lord, some small things here and there is okay. And Prabhupada gives many examples. So Prabhupada says, the idea is great people cheat for a great cause. In Ramayana, when Lord Ram is sent to the forest for 14 years, basically Dasharat Maharaj and Kaikai, they sent Lord Ram to the forest. And this no one knows. Just like here, this whole episode happens in the night. So there in Ramayana also, the whole discussion happened in the night. So on the next day in the morning, Lord Ram, Sumantra is driving Lord Ram, Sita and Lakshman to the forest. And all the people of Ayodhya are following Lord Ram. Now what can Lord Ram do? Lord Ram is trying to tell them, go back, go back. No one is listening to him only. This one thing, no one will listen to the Lord. So they are all following him. So what the Lord does, they at one place, the outskirts of Ayodhya and one village, that village is still there now, they all take rest. Everyone has gone to sleep. The Lord suddenly gets up and he tells Sumantra, start the chariot, let's go. Sumantra is saying, how can you do it? You're cheating all these guys. Lord says, no problem. Sometimes you have to cheat. So he goes. So that's the idea. Great people cheat for a great cause. If you see Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's sannyas, Mahaprabhu took sannyas without telling anyone. He just walked away from his house. And when he walked away, everyone felt cheated. How can he do this? But then if he didn't do that, then we wouldn't have this Krishna conscious movement. Right? There wouldn't be all these centers. Mahaprabhu had to do that. And Srila Prabhupada says, I also did that. Prabhupada is saying here, lot of confidence. I also did that. Prabhupada also cheated his wife. His wife, Prabhupada was trying to convince his wife, become devotee, but she was not interested. So one day, she sold Prabhupada written a purport, commentary on Bhagavad Gita. She just sold it for some tea biscuits. So Prabhupada came and asked her one day, do you want tea or you want me? She said tea. And Prabhupada said, okay. Prabhupada went. So she thought that he goes every time when he comes back. But this time Prabhupada went, he never came back only. And there are so many examples like this. The 6 Goswamis, Prabhupada gives the example of Sanatan Goswami. Know the story? Sanatan Goswami was put in a jail. Right? The Muslim rulers. So Sanatan Goswami, he had to run away. He had to cheat. He told that Muslim jailkeeper, he told him, leave me and go to Makkah. I'll go and pray to Allah. And this fellow left him. Sanatan Goswami goes to our Makkah, Vrindavan Dham. And he settles there. And there are so many examples. The example of Ramanucharya. You know the story of Ramanucharya? Ramanucharya's wife also was uncooperative. So one day Ramanucharya wrote a letter as if her father is writing to her that there is a marriage at home, please come immediately. So his wife goes, Ramanucharya immediately in Varadaraj temple in that Pushkar, he takes sannyas. Finish. Family life gone. So Prabhupada mentions here, such cheating is necessary for a great cause and there is no loss for any party in such a transcendental activity. So now what happens? So neither, I'll stop at this point, but there's some more verses in this chapter. This chapter is a little longer, so we'll get into part 3 the next week. So basically at this point, Yudhishthira is also clueless, right? So Yudhishthira also needs counseling. So that's where in the next verse we will see Narad Muni coming here. and Narad Muni shattering the illusion of Yudhishthir. So whether you are a Dhritarashtra or a Yudhishthir, illusion will always be there. And you always need a guru to shatter your illusion. So now Yudhishthir's illusion, his affection, he's crying, my uncles are gone, what will happen, my mistake. So Narad Muni comes and tells him, don't worry about them, Krishna will take care. You worry about yourself now. Because very soon you also have to go. You prepare for your life. Like that Narad Muni instructs him. So this last section, 38 to 60, we will see on Monday. Thank you very much. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Anyone has any questions, any comments?
Kunti's name is not there.
Kunti's name is not there here, but I think we will see in the chapters ahead it comes. And not even the chapter ahead. I think in the same chapter towards the end you will see that how they meet with death, all of them. You know, how they meet with death. They all burn themselves, you know. So there I think there is a mention of Kunti. So just let's wait for the chapter to conclude.
And what Arjuna has been saying in the Bhagavad Gita is all coming true.
What is that?
That you will be, he says, what is the use of fighting? All this, my family will be.
Yeah.
Those things he has been saying.
Yeah.
in the Bhagavad Gita.
Yeah. Srila Prabhupada mentioned somewhere that practicing bhakti is not easy. It's not an easy life for them.
He was reminded of Kshatriya's duties.
Yeah. He is reminded of Kshatriya. Practicing bhakti is not easy. You need a lot of heavy heart to go through all this surgery to see all this. Mahaprabhu? No. Goswamis? No. No one. They were in Ramkeli serving, they went to Jagannath Puri and then Mahaprabhu told them settle in Vrindavan. No Rishikesh, no Haridwar. In fact, Rup Sanatan didn't even go to Mayapur. Only among the 6 Goswamis, only Jiva Goswami reaches Mayapur. Gopal Bhatta Goswami never reached Jagannath Puri. So basically the idea is, what instruction was given to them, they followed. Mahaprabhu went to Gaya. Mahaprabhu went to Vrindavan, that's it. And that to Vrindavan only once. Mahaprabhu didn't go, there's no second Vrindavan Yatra of Mahaprabhu. Okay, thank you very much. Hare Krishna. So I think we can today also Purushottam Mas, we can sing Chorashtakam like we sang last time. Chanting, yeah. Video. Put up the video. Put up that video.